When looking at our 7 principles, Principle 2 and Principle 6 seem almost identical. The second principle, justice, equity and compassion in human relations. And the 6th principle, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Both mention justice, but the second principle focuses on human relations, and the 6th on world community. And I think the two are connected. In our congregations, we build justice, equity, and compassion in human relations so that we can build a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. This is how we are building our future. The world is a big place, and we have to start somewhere. And the best place to start is with ourselves. We gather on Sunday mornings to explore the meaning of life, and we are building more understanding. We educate children on the principles of love, justice, and compassion, and we're building wisdom. With what we learn here, we take into the world and promote women's rights, LGBT rights, civil rights, ecology, religious liberty. We build a community here as an example to the world. We build a community here as an example to ourselves. We build to learn that by sharing what we can, by sharing, everyone benefits. Being able to give is a privilege. Consider the times in one's life when, for whatever reason, you were unable to give. When one is unable to share, one feels powerless. The power of giving is multiplied when one gives to a group or an organization that's congruent with one's values. We give because we are thankful for what this church has been, a community of religious freedom and emotional support. This is a place where a community of kindred spirits has grown. We give because we are hopeful for what this church can be. We can be a beacon for those who are looking for a forgiving, reasonable religion. We can be an example of multiculturalism and acceptance to Tippecanoe County. We can be a force for justice in the world. Give your energy. This may be translated as money, time, or compassion. This shared energy builds community. A community of energy is synergy. We give and receive from each other, and this strengthens us to share. Think of the first time you walked into this building, or maybe into the building on 7th Street, or maybe for some of you, a house where we would have been gathered near our founding. Perhaps you thought you were the only one who doubted your own beliefs. You were alone with your doubts, afraid to ask a question lest you be shouted down. How amazing was it to find a religion that welcomed questions? And more importantly, a congregation that welcomed you. When we gather together, we learn more about each other. We also deepen the knowledge of ourselves. The gathering of open-minded people is needed in today's society. It is rare in this age of polarization. Too many people are tantalized by trash talk. We are building a place where people actively listen to one another. After service today, you can sign up for Chalice Circles. Next week's sermon, I will be expounding on that ministry even more. We are building a place where the object is to learn rather than to win. This place has a message of hope for the world. We are building justice in human relations by supporting a building that is accessible to people of all abilities. We are building equity in human relationships by expecting only what people are able to give. We are building compassion in human relations by providing nursery care for infants and visiting the elderly. We are building towards a peaceful world community when we listen to one another. We are building towards a world community of liberty when we offer a variety of religious viewpoints without coercing anyone to accept only one, and when we encourage interfaith dialogue in the community. We are building towards a future world community of justice for all when we want the blessings that we have here in the congregation to be shared around the world. Part of that sharing is to tell a friend about Unitarian Universalism. On Pledge Sunday, it's usually important to tell everybody to give more and up your pledge, but there's also the strategy of invite more people and have them give too. Proselytize. This is hard to do because one of the most annoying things about religion is proselytizing. Many of us have felt uncomfortable when some person corners us and explains why their faith journey is superior to ours. In fact, they do not even ask you about your beliefs. They just assume that you are in desperate need of what they are selling. The difference is that we do not sell. We ask you to pay what you can for what you and the world needs. Many people come to this fellowship precisely because we have a different way of doing things. It's a good thing that we do not bully people into becoming Unitarian Universalists. I don't know how we could. How do you coerce people to think for themselves? Of course, this lack of fear affects our bottom line. We have no hell to scare you into giving. We cannot offer you a way to buy a stairway to heaven. Instead, we ask each one to give what they can for the sake of oneself and one's neighbor and all the people in the world who need a religion like this. There are plenty of voices of fear in the world. Can we learn to be a voice of love? Lifting our voices in justice and compassion is building our future. A loud minority of religious zealots seem like a majority, but only half of our nation attends church, and only half of them attend fundamentalist churches. Fundamentalism defines today not because they are a majority, but because they are the loudest. Our silence and the silence of liberal Christians and the silence of liberal Muslims is taken for agreement. If we do not break the silence, authoritarian ideas go unchallenged. Authoritarian politics sows division with clear ideas of who belongs on top and how everyone is ranked and who does not belong at all. We are building our future when we are intentionally inclusive and promote equity in our congregations and the world. Let us take every chance to affirm that there is more than one way to be a moral person, more than one way to understand ultimate reality. By politely disagreeing with the politically pious, we show that it's possible to be religious and polite. Continue to ask, where's the compassion in dogmatic religion and dogmatic politics? Ask if someone's social theory is based on loving their enemy or fearing them. Let people know it's possible to love those who love differently. You use, affirm, and promote 7 principles. We are good at affirming, but we must be better at promoting. We affirm every time we come to church. We affirm when we give to this church. But we must share what we do here with more people. By silencing ourselves, we make it seem like our church is a dirty little secret. But we know that in reality, that this is a community where people attempt to practice unconditional love. We affirm this by pledging our time, talent, and treasure. We promote this by inviting others to do the same. Let us promote our ideals. The more we respect ourselves, the more we will be respected in the world. Value this congregation, and others will be able to see its worth. Now is the time to be building for the future. A future that has justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, and a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. May we bless and be blessed.